Good day, everybody who's watching this. This is my 2026 tornado tracking season analysis for this year. This forecast will cover pretty much everything that's going on, even as far over to the Pacific. Uh, really, just anything relating to the tornado season. It's going to be covered in this video. I hope you enjoy. It took a little bit making this, so I hope it's informative, and I hope you really take some enrichment out of this. Immediately, we're going to start with the Enso. Now, right now, we're in a neutral Enso pattern. You can see inside that circle, you're getting lighter yellows and lighter blues. Especially over towards the South America coastline, though, you get some of those darker oranges. Those are significantly above average waters. However, out towards the west, you're getting significantly cooler than average waters. This is really just the remnants of El Nino in that area, as El Nino is building into the east. Right now, we're in a neutral Enso pattern, but that's expected to change over to an El Nino in about 1 to 2 months, which could drastically change the weather pattern. Now, it matters as it pretty much controls the subtropical and polar vortexes, and they really are the main factors in determining where high pressures and low pressures are going to go in the Western Hemisphere. And even as far over to the Indian Ocean, the Enso does have an effect on. So it's not just in the Western Hemisphere, it's just much more amplified in the Western Hemisphere. Coming over to the La Nina and El Nino patterns, you see in El Nino you're getting amplified ridging and troughs, and you're getting more active storm tracks, especially into the deep south. But you can also get some east coast setups. Now, generally in El Nino, you would get more derechos, more multicellular storms bringing tornadoes. It's just a bit more of a challenging pattern to predict. Meanwhile, in El Nino, it's much more calm. You're getting warmer air billing to the north, and less ridging and troughs in either direction. But that's also making less active storm track. However, it does allow more discrete supercells to form in the Great Plains, for example, and a bit more storms to form in the northeast. In El Nino, significantly less hail generally occurs, while in El Nino, you're getting much more severe weather in general. However, the west coast actually gets hit by El Nino much harder than El Nino. El Nino brings droughts to the west and really keeps away much precipitation at all. That's why the west has been in droughts lately, as we have been in a slew of El Ninos over the past decade. El Ninos, we've only had like 3 El Ninos over the past 10 years. When we have, the west has gone out of some of the drought. The Palisades wildfire did occur while El Nino was coming to an end before El Nino took shift last year. And then it turned back to El Nino this winter. But now, I'm in El Nino this winter, and now it's turning back into an El Nino. But back to the storms. El Nino just going to bring much less severe weather in general. Short-lived outbreaks, but when you get an outbreak, especially in those warmer temperatures, storms can be much stronger than what we would get in El Nino. So while they're less common, they generally are more intense. Coming over to a trough analysis, this is something that could happen this year. It's one of the most common setups. You're getting Gulf moisture and heat heading up toward the north across the southeast. And this is because of the trough, it's pushing up the Gulf air in front of it. It's almost like a pendulum. On one side, it's going to fall, but the energy, it's going to have it rise on the other side. On the back, so you're getting cold air. From the Rockies, though, you can get downsloping winds. And this is why Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, even Nebraska, they generally get much more severe weather than the east. It's all because of the Rockies, the downsloping winds. It helps promote winds here. But it also has that class in cold air and warm air. It's really the perfect setup for tornadoes. And right at that line, that's where you could get wind shear formation. And wind shear is kind of the number one driving factor of tornadoes. If there's an MVP for tornadoes, it would be the wind shear. Generally, the cooler airs are going to be at the lower part of the storms, and warm air is going to be higher up. Now, this generally leads to updraft and downdraft formation, and this helps promote rear flank downdrafts, for example. Gust fronts, it's another big thing, and really just helps tornado formation in general. Without wind shear, you can't really get a tornado. You need that spin in the atmosphere. It's like stirring a pot. If you don't have that spoon stirring the pot, you're not going to get a little vortex in the middle. It's just not going to happen. Now, coming into tornado prediction, this month, which is already halfway over, you get some tornadoes. We expect the tornadoes to be mostly centered over Tennessee for the rest of the month. Missouri is another big area, but March is going to be significantly below average with tornadoes. We've had a couple tornadoes. The Kankakee tornado, another tornado in Michigan. Those were pretty major tornadoes, and they both happened in the lighter yellow area. So even if you're in the lighter yellow area, you do need to watch out for tornadoes, and that's just going to head out to the forecast. So really, if you're in any state area, you should be getting ready for this tornado season, even though it is going to be slightly below average. Heading into April, you're getting widespread tornadoes, particularly across Arkansas. You get some up in Missouri and Kansas as well. Oklahoma, another big state. You're getting some tornadoes pretty much across the entire eastern United States, south of Iowa and east of the Rockies. You get some tornadoes now in Florida. And even as far north as Toronto could be in the gun for some tornadoes. However, over in the east, the Appalachians are guarding the northeast from tornadoes. However, it's going to become sort of a villain heading in towards the later of the season, and this season is going to be a late blooming one. I don't believe April is going to be the most intense month, although it most likely will be the second or third most intense month of this tornado season. It's going to be a bit of a slow start, as you're saying. Could get some Iowa tornadoes. Iowa could be actually a very big wild card in the month of April. You're getting widespread tornadoes towards the south of the state. Well, you can barely get any into the north of the state. It's going to be a huge wild card. You're going to get heavy conflicting moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, especially as we transition into a El Nino. It's going to be a very unstable pattern across that area. So, even if you're in states like Wisconsin, Minnesota, I'd watch out. Y'all could also be in the gunning for an outbreak, although it's less likely than, say, Illinois, for example, Indiana. Illinois is going to have a very bad tornado season, I believe. So if you're in Illinois, you should definitely watch out. It's going to be a nasty tornado season this year. Heading into the month of May, you're getting a tornado hotspot forming across Kansas and Nebraska. You're getting widespread tornadoes pretty much across all the Great Plains, into as far south as Texas, DFW. They could possibly have some closures due to severe weather this year. So obviously you got to keep that in mind. Travel, it's going to be a big thing in May. Mother's Day, for example. You're going to get people traveling out of state, visiting their mother, because odds are they're going to be across the state, across the country too. It's one of the big travel times of the year, May, especially you're getting spring coming in. You're going to head south, sometimes even north, to get in that nice weather. However, out on the Great Plains, you are going to get some tornadoes, possibly many days with multiple tornadoes on them. Could there be another EF5 this year? Can't rule it out. Most likely, if there was, it'd be in the states of Missouri, Kansas, or Nebraska. However, Alabama and Tennessee should also keep their eyes out. Illinois, once again, tornado, very likely a bad tornado season for y'all. Y'all just going to be in some tornadoes area, but when you're in that for months on end, you're going to get at least one tornado outbreak. And we've already seen this in the beginning of this year. I mean, getting Kankakee. Kankakee's a great example. In the F3, just tore through the town. Rest in peace to those two elders. I pray for your families. Hope all goes well. Sincerely, I'm sorry for your loss. I take this as an example. You got to prepare. You got to know when this has to happen. It's a very sad thing when people do die in these storms. Fortunately, the city of Omaha is in this widespread tornado area. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Wichita, Joplin. I know Joplin remembers a huge tornado, giant EF5. One of the most violent tornadoes ever recorded. Could get a setup like that this year, so you obviously got to keep in mind. Really, if you're in the Great Plains, tornadoes are always on your mind. But in some outbreaks, those sirens aren't just going to be normal sirens. They're going to determine life or death. Heading over to the east, you're getting widespread tornadoes across Virginia, West Virginia, and Maryland. Keep in mind that although the east doesn't get as many tornadoes, the Appalachians are going to provide downslope points just like the Rockies, and Atlantic moisture from the Gulf Stream could support tornado formation. All the way down into Florida, you could get some tornadoes. Even though Florida doesn't get too many tornadoes, some weak water spouts could definitely form. Even some land spouts. Just got to keep in mind. Florida, it's one of those states. You could get a tornado, you might not. It all depends on what happens, as the pattern, especially in El Nino, the troughs won't be digging into the state this year. Heading into June, you're getting widespread tornadoes across the Northeast and in the northern Great Plains, even as far north as parts of Canada. You're getting widespread tornadoes in Texas. This is going to be the hotspot month for Texas. The Great Plains, widespread tornadoes. Keep in mind, now Chicago, widespread tornadoes for y'all. This is going to be your peak month. Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, it's going to be your peak month. You're going to get widespread tornadoes in these areas. Some tornadoes across Michigan, Ohio, and generally the Ohio Valley, some tornadoes. The Southeast should be tornado-free by now. After that 2024 tornado season for the Southeast, and even 2023, you're going to be grateful for it. Mayfield, we hope that you get an easy season this year. We do think it's going to be slightly above average for the Mayfield area. We just got to hope a quad state does not form this year. But if it does, you just got to get the shelter. You got to watch on those severe weather days. Even in the month of June, you could get a moderate risk, even though tornado season is on the decline. Heading into July, you're getting some tornadoes